everyone. Welcome to the Centre Bounce for this Monday evening, our usual Monday Supercoach round review and Q&A for everybody to come in, talk some Supercoach, and ask some questions. It's your boy Joe here once again, here to hopefully spend a lovely Monday night with all of you lovely people. I understand that the season is well and truly coming to a close, and the need for Supercoach, the thirst for Supercoach is well and truly slipping, I think, with everyone having basically a full team, people having just about no trades left. So I can completely understand if we're in a situation where people's appetite, people's desire to get more Supercoach content probably might not be there as it once was. Obviously, it's just by virtue of the times, and we're at a point in time where there's a bit of a lull, I guess, in the Supercoach proceedings. I can, at least for those who were not here for the stream yesterday, I can show you how my team did before I get into the round review. What my team did, I probably should undo the changes and show you how it went. It was a little bit unfortunate having Johnson on the field with both Laird and Green out. I used my last trade to get Georgie Boy Hewitt into the side, and it was a good pickup because obviously he scored really well at 127. Unfortunately, Johnson's 29 was absolutely pathetic. And probably a big reason why my overall score last week of 2504 did not see me climb up the ranks. I slid down once again this week. I've been sliding by around 200 ranks every single week for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So not having English is hurting. The Briggs Marshall combination. Briggs was always going to struggle this week playing against Wits, but the news seems optimistic about Laird being back this week. So fingers crossed for his return, and then we can hopefully field a full 22 on field. We'll start. Got a question in from Harry. How's it going, Harry? Thanks for coming on, mate. Walsh 2 to 3 weeks. Is he must trade, or do you trade around him? I personally would trade him. I think we're now at the back half of the year. There's not many rounds left. We're now going to be entering into round 20 in a 24 round season. So, look, I reckon if he's missing 3 weeks, I reckon there's a trade out for me, Harry. You'd be missing out on too many points, I think, on field, unless you've got an extra premium in the midfield that you can cover him. I reckon he's a trade out, Harry. We also got Causa, mate. How's it going, Causa? Scored 25.96 this week, almost in the top 5K for the first time ever in my Supercoach. That is so good to hear. Your team is in tremendous shape, Causa. We have been tracking your journey every step of the way. You've asked a lot of great questions, and it's great to see that your team is probably in the best shape it's ever been in. So really happy for you, man. Fingers crossed that you can get even higher. You can do it. Believe in you, mate. Jen, how's it going? Thanks for coming on. Jono, mate, how's it going? And it's the man, the myth, the legend, Hippo Supercoach. How you doing, brother? Massive love out to you. Matt, you're flying. Your team is flying. To think at one point in time, it was like, oh no, not Ryan, not Ryan and freaking Steele. How can we go for these 2 bums? And now look at him. They've come alive for you, Hippo. They've come alive. I'm so happy for you, brother. Onwards and upwards, man. Do it for all of us. If you haven't subbed to Hippo, bro, if you haven't subbed, go on over, mate. Do yourselves a favor. He's like, I think, were you like 926 or something last time I checked, Hippo? Let's have a look. I don't know. I'm not exactly on the top of my head, but Hippo Supercoach. Here we are. I'm pretty sure you're like on 937 now. There you go. So, mate, you got to, if you haven't already, sub to this handsome fella. Honestly, the guy's a legend. The guy's a superstar. Very chill, very fun. And it's when he gets angry, it's good. So you got to sub to this man if you haven't already. Do yourselves a favor. He's gone into the top 1K. Get around him, mate. Get around him. Hopefully, he can get to 1,000 before the end of the season. He's done a lot of hard work, regular content, consistency, mate. Consistency, super important. And that's what he's been this year on your Hippo. Jonas Ridley done for the year. Mate, I can condone, I can put up with slander against Setago. All right, I get it. But Ridley is a 24-year-old superstar. Every single team would give anything up to get Ridley in their team. Take it easy, mate. Take it easy. But yeah, Ridley's done. Chincotta out, and the only cover is the Cesanero. Good luck with that, Jonas. That is rough. Jono, 26-23 for the week. That is huge. 42-43 overall rank with 42-55, 2 total points. I don't know why I read those numbers like that, but it came out easy. So you're on 42, 552. I'm not too far ahead of you, mate. I'm not too far ahead of you. You're catching up. Causa, hope Later's back this week, as have marriage cover. Should have held DCAM and had the one trade to trade Walsh this week. Yeah, you can't predict these things, Causa. You really can't. From what I've read online today, apparently Laird is optimistic that he will be back this week if that swelling can continue to die down, can continue to shrink. So fingers crossed, mate, that he can get back for us. Really glad to hear that, Hippo. Yeah, Fancast has been really good, man. It's been good fun. And yeah, mate, you're a Carlton man. If you like, we can hit you up and get you to get on board in the cast. But yeah, loving Fancast. It's been good fun, absolutely. Sean Darcy is done for the year. That is massive news, massive implications. And for those who have a cheeky trade left, there is one man who's clearly going to be benefiting from that, and it is none other than freaking Jackson. Big old Luke Jackson is having some fun as a result. He scored 100 last week, so I reckon he's gonna have some decent scores to end the year. Unfortunately, he's got a couple of tough games, 3 tough games actually, but he does have West Coast in round 22, so it's not a bad shout for 457k. Maybe it's a bit too expensive for people, but yeah, Sean Darcy is done. Jonas is called my Supercoach team for the mate. Not having good cover has killed your Supercoach team for the year, Jonas. And using all your trades, you should have had the trade left or something. English into Sicily for captain. Oh yeah, that would be really cool. Looking at if I go back to game day, easy way to look at the fixture. Sorry, go to my team. Easy way to look at the fixture. You've got English. You said English against Briggs. Really, you would overlook Dacos, mate. You would overlook Dacos at the MCG against Carlton. I reckon Dacos is hard to go past. He was very strongly, there was a massive tag put on him, and he still scored a 99. So I reckon it's hard to go past VC Dacos, and I'm surprised you're also overlooking Stewart at home against Freo. Freo's forward line is quite abysmal, and playing at home, Stewart loves to play at home. He won a 152 playing at the Gabba. So, Stewart's also a very big shout out for a big score this week. I reckon they're both more trustworthy, I would imagine. Oh, you don't own Stewie, Jono? Wow. Well, you own Dacos. Everyone and their mum owns Dacos. So you got to own Dacos. Even grandmas own Dacos. So hard to go past Dacos. I reckon Dacos is safer than English this week. Briggs is no slouch, man. Briggs is a star. and you got Sicily. Yeah, Sicily is a massive captain this week at Marvel against the Saints. It's hard. It's hard to go past Sicily. Unfortunately, I don't have him. My plan is probably going to be just quite simply, I might just do Dacos into Stewart, I think, this week for me. I like them both. Causes looking at Stewart into Houston for captain this week. Houston, yeah, he loves to play at Adelaide Oval and is up against a Rankin-less Adelaide. That's massive. Them losing Rankin is a massive out for him. So, yeah, Houston could really be a good shout out, I reckon, for a captain there, Causa. You're welcome, Harry. Is Hewitt and MA a risk? I don't think Hewitt and MA is a risk. I don't. As you can see, I've got him here in the meantime as an extra primo, but Hewitt is really good. Depends a lot on the Carlton midfield setup because Carlton, obviously, they've got a lot of chefs in the kitchen in their midfield, and they obviously had no Cripps this week and no Chera. So there were two big outs for the Carlton Footy Club. So it obviously bolstered up Georgie Boy Hewitt's CBAs. And this was his first game where he's actually played out the full game and wasn't a sub. As you can see, 16, 17, 18, very low time on ground, slowly building. And I was really satisfied that I reckon this game was going to be the game where he played a full game. You could see that he was building up to it, and he got a lot more CBAs. So Paddy Cripps, I think Paddy Cripps will get up this week. There are still question marks over Chera, if Chera will get up. And obviously there's no Sammy Walsh. So you would imagine, perhaps, that George Hewitt again gets a bit of CBAs, which for his price point, I think is very good. Hard to go past George Hewitt, I reckon. I was talking about him maybe for the last 2-3 weeks. I've been highlighting him, and I bit the bullet. I pulled the trigger. I got him in last week, and I'm a very happy chappy as a result. Went up 628. Currently ranked 26,800. That is really good, Jen, that you went up. But you are right. You should have held Sicily instead of Oliver. The Oliver situation is probably one of the most bizarre situations I've seen in a long time. For a superstar of his caliber to have missed so many games in a row with just a series of unfortunate events. To get to this point is absolutely brutal. And the decision to hold him as opposed to the decision to hold Sicily, you couldn't predict this, Jen. You really couldn't. It's really tough luck. Jonas, I heard Big J is away tonight, appearing as an expert witness for the Willie Rioli case. Plenty of chicks have slapped him harder than that, and he's never fallen down. Oh, Jonas, mate. I love it. Oh, mate, I've taken a screenshot of this and I'm sending it to him. Love you, Jonas. Love your work, mate. You're right, Jono. Yes, Sam Murray is also out with an ACL. Very terrible, sad news over there for him and the Adelaide Crows. It's hard to see them really challenge as they're starting to get hit with injuries. And Rankin was real X-factor excitement for him, and he gave him a spark, helped keep them alive in that game against the Melbourne Demons. So, yeah, it's Houston's a good shout. Anthony, how's it going, Mr. Eunice? I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. Going Walsh to Jelly, zero trades. Mate, you got zero trades and you're trading in one of the most injury-prone players in the history of the game. Why are you doing this to yourself, mate? You're going to need cover for your cover. I wouldn't go Jelly. How much does Kelly even cost? What's Kelly's price point at now? Will he even survive the rest of the year? 504K. How much money you got to play with, Anthony? 504K. Is there anyone around 504K worth owning? You need someone 551K or lower, all our ass. Yeah, I hear you. 551K or lower. All right. Let's have a look at the 3-round average. We've got Steele, mate. Here you go. Look at Jono. I want LDU or Steel too expensive, but Steel is at 553. Fair enough. You need 551. Let's zoom in a little bit. It's hard to see like that. There we go. Charlie Kerno. What's Charlie's run home? But you obviously want a midfielder. Let's filter and also do by mids. Okay. So Shai Bolton is 552. You want 551. There's Whitfield, but he's very injury prone himself. There's Flanders. Why the hell is Flanders suddenly thinking that he's the GOAT? Like, what's going on with the Flanders? Why is Flanders suddenly the GOAT? I don't understand. He's all of a sudden getting CBAs that he didn't have before. So all of a sudden, Flanders is getting CBAs. Even with the return of Tuke Miller, it doesn't matter. Why is Flanders getting so many CBAs? Is ridiculous to me. But oh, you've already jumped on Flanders? Oh, in fantasy. Far out. Flanders has just come alive. It's ridiculous. For all the people who owned him at the start of the year, they've been absolutely cucked. He's now all of a sudden turned into, like, thinks he's like trying to win a Brownlow medal or something. 50. His CBA has just been gradually going up week after week. Like, Yana, where was it at the start of the year? Like, he's just been going up week after week after week, and he didn't even need a lot of CBAs here. Why did he score 119 off 19 CBAs? Sundina, what is 27 touches, 6 marks, 4 tackles, no goals with that, mate? Jump on Flanders at this point. Like, what's to change? Are there any players coming back for Gold Coast? I don't think there's any players coming back for Gold Coast. This might be their full strength side, right? Let's see, AFL injuries. Are there any players still to come for the Gold Coast Suns? Really, I can't search for Gold Coast. I have to manually scroll. What a sad state of affairs that is. You've got Gold Coast. They've got nothing. They've got Weller's out for the season and Joel Jeffrey. So, mate, you can get Flanders, mate. They've essentially got a full strength team. Flanders is never getting displaced. This is what you're going to get for the rest of the year from Flanders. Exactly. You just go Tuke and Flanders, M7, M8, mate. There you go, Anthony. Solved. It's solved. I don't even know how that's happened. But, yeah. Flanders, bruv. In the midfield, mid-forward. He gives you that dual position. Thinking of Dacos into Bont or Dunkley. Yeah, who's the Bont got this week? Oops, sorry. Bont. Who did the Bulldogs play again? The Bulldogs are playing against... All right, the Bulldogs are playing against the Giants. Yeah, possible. Does Bont like to play at Mars, though? Last time he's played... thanks. Thank you. The last time... Oh, is that Mars? No, that's Monica Oval, Marvel, Giant Stadium. We might have to go to DFS Australia for this. But yeah, I don't know about Bont. He's in good form, true, but Bont is injured. He's playing injured, so I personally wouldn't go Bont. Who's Dunkley playing against? Dunkley this week has got Gold Coast. Yeah, I'd much prefer Dunks, to be honest, over Gold Coast, over Bont, because Dunkley, is fit. He's not injured. He doesn't have the injury concern anymore. Whereas Bont is playing injured. So I personally wouldn't go Bont, Jen. I think it's safer playing Dunkley against the Gold Coast Suns, who are ranked 15th for scores against. And for those who weren't here the last time we were doing this sort of Supercoach stream, it was brought to our attention that you could do this defense versus position to then give you a good idea of how certain teams are strong and weak against various positions. So you look at the Gold Coast Suns, they are bad against inside mids and against general forwards. They're ultimately really difficult to score against in the ruck. So maybe not Gold Coast, actually. You never started him at the start, which is crazy. Yeah, I know, right? Like, Flanders it's been ridiculous. Luke Jackson is the best trader with Darcy. Yes, it's true, but if he's got no DPP and is looking at a midfielder, that's why I was looking at mids. But I agree, Jackson as a solo ruck is really good. He was the first person I was speaking about. Move Butters into midfield and have LJ and DC F5 and 6 doesn't sound shocking. No, not at all, Anthony. Not at all. That is really good. Yeah, the jelly ceiling is high, but you just want players to play, man, for the rest of the year. There's no one softer than jelly. Nothing is softer than jelly, Jonas. Not even Set a Chick, all right? Jelly is super soft. I like that move, Anthony. Having Luke Jackson and Darcy Cameron is really good. And you got the ruck cover as well. So I like that move, Anthony. I like that a lot. So you want to look for the greens, and the greens are the places that show that that certain teams are really weak against in terms of the scoring. So you look at West Coast, a lot of greens, so they're pretty shit against just about everything, except for defensive kick-ins. Except for the kick-in takers, because the ball's never down there. So whoever's on kick-ins duty sucks. But whenever you're up against, whereas West Coast get decimated by rucks. Now, unfortunately, West Coast is playing against North, and no one's going to have in North Melbourne ruckman this week. So don't show me that. I'm already sad as it is. So we look at other matchups to exploit. Port Adelaide are really bad against rucks also. Who's playing Port Collingwood? Who's playing Port Adelaide? We don't have any Adelaide ruckmen. North are bad against defensive wingers. No one's got anyone from West Coast. Who's this? Hawthorn are bad against defenders. And the Hawks are playing against St Kilda. So Sinclair is a shout for this week. Sinclair is a shout for a captaincy option or a VC. Essendon suck against wingers, and we play against Sydney. So Errol Goulden is in with a shout as well for a really good score. Who else is a really good? Who else concedes a lot of points? North against forwards. So this could be the week. Oh no, key forward is Marriage, so that wouldn't be right. Adelaide are playing against Port on a wing. So any Port Adelaide wingers could do really well this week as a captaincy option. Brisbane struggle against general defenders, and Brisbane playing against Gold Coast, so we don't really care about that. Carlton concede points against halfbackers. So Carlton's playing Collingwood. So yeah, I'm going to definitely have a VC on Dacos this week, because Dacos takes kick-ins, yeah? He's still taking kick-ins. Let's see what the kick-ins are looking like over there at Collingwood. Collingwood, kick-ins. No, Darcy Moore is still taking the most kick-ins. So Nick Dacos has some. Nowhere near as much as Darcy Moore. Hopefully this game, we'll see a game where Dacos takes more kick-ins. If so, then Dacos could be a really good option. Let's have a look at some. I need players who are playing your... Exactly. That's the whole point of the trade, Anthony. You have Windy as cover. That's really good. I was singing praises about Windhager and saying that he was the choice. Don't go Fife. Go Windhager. And my word, if you listen to me, you'd be very happy. You wanted to save the trade for Tex. I know. It's a shame, right? It's a shame. Finn gonna go to Sinclair. Finn McGuinness. Probably. I don't think there's anyone else who's a dangerous runner for St Kilda, so you might actually have a point there. If Ed Kono don't play VC Dacos into Stew, Ed Kono will not be able to shut down Dacos. No one. He can't. He just can't. I'm sorry, Anthony. Dacos is going to give him a bath. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Dacos will kill Kono. If they decide to put Kono on him, it's not going to work out for him. Will not work out for him. So I'll probably I reckon Freo are bad against designated kickers. So he got 65. So there's a benefit there. So Stewart is an option. They do 65% better, the kicking takers. So I like that. I love to see that. But also I like to see this for Dacos. I captained Dacos against Ed already. Got only 100. I don't think it was because Ed was successful in tagging him. I don't think that was the reason why, Anthony. Might have to rewatch that game. Who else is really susceptible to giving up a lot of points? No one's got any West Coast players. The Hawks struggle against general forwards. So maybe, Rowan Marshall is still playing ruck, and Hawthorn are pretty good at negating ruckman, actually. So that's difficult. Yeah, so there's not too many. So there's Goulden. This shows you Goulden's an option. This shows you a Port winger. Who's playing on the wing for Port? It's not Houston. Houston's more playing half back, but Houston could do really well, especially with Rankin out of the side. Brisbane struggle against general defenders. Who's a general Brisbane? No one's got a Gold Coast one. Carlton struggle against the designated kick-in, so Dacos could do well. That's a golden one, I said. And then Freo struggle against designated kick-ins as well, so this could be a good shout-out for Stewart. Freo there. GWS. How did GWS do against mids? Inside mids don't do the best against GWS. So again, a reason why I probably would not go against for anyone. Even the ruck. GWS are really good at negating rucks as well. So I wouldn't go English or Bont for this week, to be honest. I'd probably stay clear of them. Who else is a common captaincy option for people? There is Petrarca. Petrarca, who does Melbourne play? Melbourne are playing against Richmond. But Petrarca's playing more more forward now. How do Richmond deal with forwards? General forwards, they tend to do worse against Richmond in the last 5 games. But if you're a key forward, then you're doing really well. So it's an interesting one. I wouldn't say Petrarca's a key forward. I'd say he's more of a general forward. So I probably wouldn't be leaning towards Petrarca either. Who else is a Neil? Neil is playing against the Gold Coast Suns. Neil, we look at the Gold Coast against inside mids. Gold Coast are actually really good at negating those players also. So might not go with Neil. Brayshaw is Freo. Freo are playing against Geelong. Geelong are pretty good at inside mids. They do concede points to wingers, but it's home. There's no wings at GMHBA Stadium, so I probably wouldn't go Brayshaw either. How did Geelong do against Rucks, though? Geelong against Rucks are pretty decent as well. In terms, they take off 25% of points, so maybe Jackson isn't a great captaincy option either. Taranto is playing against Melbourne. Melbourne, in terms of inside mids, they do 56% worse, so I wouldn't go with Taranto either. Gee, it's a tough week. Rosie, Port Adelaide are up against Adelaide. Adelaide concede points to wingers. They're good against inside mids, and they're good against general forwards. So again, it's a weird week. There aren't too many options where the stars are aligning for our Uber premiums to star. I can't help but see Dacos and Stewart as being the clear options for me. And of course, if you have Sicily as well, Sicily against St Kilda, it's an interesting one. The last 5 weeks has been showing that St Kilda are really struggling against general defenders and kick-in targets. So if you've got Sicily, he is a clear captain option for you. You got to do it. I wish I had Sicily. I unfortunately had to trade him out. So for all you Sicily owners out there, he is your clear captain for this week, I reckon. Alrighty. So I guess we can go through each of the games. We had the Bombrays hosting the Western Bulldogs. It was a very sad game for my boys. Ridley was our best player, 138 points. He was our best player and got subbed out. Didn't even play the whole game. He was subbed out early in the fourth quarter. So for him, that was a massive score. He was our best player. I'm going to be without him for the rest of the year. It's a very sad thing. We're screwed. Zach Merritt, 105. Mate, I'm surprised he got that much. It was a very poor game by his standards. I can't wait for him to bounce back in a big way. Hopefully it is this week against the Swans, and hopefully he can give us a good game. No one else. Redmond, some people own Redmond. He had 20 kicks, 9 marks. This score was definitely bolstered with our chip mark game style in the back line, which was disgusting to watch as a supporter. I didn't want to see us do that. I wanted to take the game on. But for the Supercoach owners out there, they were very happy that they were doing that. And no one else is probably relevant for us. In terms of the doggies, 134 for English. I didn't think that he was that much better than Phillips. Like, he more than doubled Phillips' scoring. But I thought Phillips did a much better job in the ruck than Tim English did, to be completely honest with you. Even though they had the exact same number of hitouts, our team basically gave up in the last quarter, and English just cashed in. 18 disposals. Did a good job. Bontempelli, he's playing injured, but the guy's an absolute superstar. Libba, again, he completely killed us. 22 contested possessions, if you don't mind. This guy is a superstar. If he was younger, how old is Liberatore? Tom Liberatore is 31. If he was younger, I'd pick him in my team next year, but unfortunately, I'm not picking the grandpa. Treloar did really well, was a bit banged up. Bailey Smith in his return was not his best, but played a very decent game. Jack McRae continues to do unfortunate Jack McRae things. He is much better than this, but his role is different. He's no longer playing that role that he did in the past, and he's playing a lot more on the wing these days. Still, a 91 is decent. And that was this game. We then move over to Richmond versus the Hawks in what was an absolute belter. Hawks, very valiant, fought hard all game long. Just unfortunately pipped at the end by the Baker goal. The Tigers, they play the MCG very, very well, especially when it's wet. They had some really good performances out of a bunch of people. Dusty Martin is still doing some consistent things. Tim Taranto was on -5 in the first quarter for quite some time. So for him to still pull out a 91 was really impressive. You love to see it. And there's really no one else. Hopper is doing classic mid-price scoring and nothing really crazy for us. Meanwhile, on the other side, yes, Jen, you have a second team. Take us into Sicily. Sounds very good. Sicily is a beast. When you leave him to do his own things and you leave him to his own devices, this is what he is capable of. A true superstar of the competition. He is, without a doubt, the best captain option for this week. If you have Sicily, make sure you captain him. Warple, 93. He's been doing really well. great option. Will Day with a 90. Look, I got to take it. Unfortunately, it's not the best, but certainly not the worst either. And I'm pretty sure no one else. I mean, the only other players that people got here will probably be Weddle with a 56 and Mitchell with a 44. Look, it's decent cover on your bench. You don't want them to play anywhere near your field, but they're just in the event of an emergency. So well done to the Hawks. You've had a very good year, and you really took it up to Richmond when what was a danger game. Probably should have won that game, but it is what it is. Theo is asking me your thoughts on Essendon winning this week. I don't feel any confidence whatsoever. The players look dead tired, and I think I'm not agreeing at all with any of the decisions that Brad Scott is making in the coach's box. I don't know. I find that we're losing the game before we're even going onto the park, to be honest. Theo, I'm not liking this decision to drop Menzies. I'm not liking this decision to not play, our youngsters, because why is Nick Bryan getting so little ruck time? Why is Nick Bryan getting so little time? I mean, look at his time on ground. Why is Nick Bryan's time on ground only 31%? What's the point of playing him? What's the point? He was subbed out, right? In the fourth quarter. Why does he only have 31% time on ground for that point? What's the point of playing him? We didn't do it properly. Honestly, at this point, Nick Bryan is he's the young one. He's the one that we have to keep pumping time into development. Not into Phillips, who's 31 years old. We know what Phillips is, right? But we got to have an eye on the future. I feel like the messaging that Brad Scott's given us and what he's actually doing on the field are two separate things. He's saying that when he's excited for what's to come and we're building and developing, etc., etc. I don't see you developing this kid. You might as well have left him in the VFL to play a full game. What's this 31% nonsense only then to sub him out? I'm not a fan. I don't think our chances are great, Theo. I'll probably only see us winning 2 games for the rest of the year against West Coast and maybe against North, and that's it. Jonas, CD is rugby on belief. Petrarca was very average this week at 119, fumbled, missed targets. 0 goals, 2 on last week was very good, 113. Compared to, I know. CD is unbelievable. It's very hard to look at them and just be like, yeah, everything is working perfectly fine. It is not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. And I think there's definitely a level of, I suppose, human error that can come into it. They might say that it's probably, in terms of the impact of how things took place, maybe all of these stats came later in the game when the game was dead and buried, and therefore the scaling wasn't there for it, as opposed to if it was in a really clutch moment, you get a lot of extra points. They can fluff with the statistics behind this sort of explanation, Jonas. I agree. There are many times where it doesn't make sense, but unfortunately, they will always have an explanation as to why. That's basically my pure, unadulterated thoughts on it. I genuinely believe that there is an element of rigged. It's rigged in some aspects, especially if they own a certain player. However, there's no real way to prove it, unfortunately. We then get to the demolition that is your Blues, Jonas, against the West Coast Eagles, as you like to call them. I like to call them the West Coast Witches hats. 10-9, 69, very nice. Losing to 21-14, 140. They almost lost to Charlie Curnow by himself, who kicked 10 goals 3 to their 10 goals 9 in what was a game which probably stitched up the Coleman medal for Charlie Curnow. Congratulations, mate. Another Coleman medal to go to your name, unless, of course, barring injury/suspension, I think it's clear that he's got it. Doherty, where was this early in the year, you dog? Huh? Where was this early in the year, you flog? I started you and I kept you and I believed in you, knowing you were capable of this. Every time. George Hewitt, you though, I'm happy with. I'm very glad I traded you in this week. You were an absolute bargain. I told everyone about you, and everyone who did trade you in were very happy, as am I. DeConning, 118 in the ruck against the blowjob BJ Williams. So he did very well. Walsh, this guy was on absolute fire. He's got 109 of 34% game time. 109 of 34% game time. Like, that is ridiculous. Sam Walsh was so hot, he burnt his own hamstring. Wiedering with a 103, very impressive. Don't expect this every week. Start with a 95. I mean, they just killed him, right? They just killed him. Chinkota with a 72. Even he had a decent cover score for those who needed him. We then go over to the hapless, very sorry West Coast Eagles, who once again got another injury, and Shuey's time might just be up, I think. Witherden with a 123 off 21 kicks, 7 marks, if you don't mind, and Andrew Gaff with a 114. The fact that these are the only 2 players to turn up goes to show that they were absolutely smashed. Oscar Allen with a 70 points. That's not too bad. Marich with a 67. Also not too bad for those who needed to field him this week. Good work, sir. And Chesson Nero with a 47. I think he's been slowly improving his scoring, though, Jonas. So, mate, there's hope for you. There's hope for you. And I think that's this game finished. We then move over to the Brisbane Lions in a great win against the Cats. Huss, how's it going, mate? Thanks for coming on. Thanks for spending this Monday night with us. And a massive thank you to you guys as well for watching. I know I thank you at the end of every stream, but I just have to say, for you to spend the time with me here on a late Monday evening, I really appreciate it. You could be doing absolutely anything else, but you've decided to spend it with us. So massive love to all of you guys. Back to this game. Brisbane v. the Cats. This margin actually flattered Geelong. Geelong really only played one good quarter. And Brisbane, once again, are showing that they are almost impossible to beat at home. They've had some really good performers. Callum Archie was the big star. A 1-goal-1 with 23 disposals, 9 marks. So they were playing a great style of footy. They controlled the game basically from start to finish. And he had a 140, which is terrific. Dunkley, they've missed him. He is Dunkley. That move for Dunkley to go to Brisbane Lions is probably one of the most influential moves that's going to be over this off-season. He is massive, and he will play a massive part in the Brisbane Lions featuring and possibly going very deep into September. He does a lot of great things. Not only does he win the ball himself, he also tackles. He goes and he wins contested possessions. 16 of them, if you don't mind. Massive score from Dunkley. And Neil, love to have him back. And we automatically saw a drop in his scoring because he doesn't have to be the one carrying the heavy loads anymore. He's got Dunkley back to help him, and they are forming a great partnership. They really are. Now, someone else who was really flourishing in that midfield is, of course, young Ashcroft, who tragically has ruptured his ACL. A lot of thoughts and prayers with him in this difficult time, and we hope that he has a speedy recovery and comes back in the best of nick, because he is truly one of the game's best players at such a young age. I really hope that he wins the goal of the year just to make him feel a bit better about himself in this low time. Jasper Fletcher is also doing some really neat things as well, just by the by, low key. Connor McKenna with an 85. He's been decent. He's been a decent performer for the Brisbane Lions all year, and that's what we expected as Essendon supporters. We know exactly what you're going to get from Connor. He's not going to kill you every single week, but he will certainly, be a great role player for him. Darcy Wilmot has been enjoying a nice, rich run of form in his last few weeks, and it would have been great to have kept him. He would be terrific bench cover at this point in time. Yeah, I know, Jonas Dunkley. Thanks, Adrian Dodoro, for not trading for him. Good times. Man, I actually agree. The more I've At first, I thought, nah, that's giving up 3 first-rounders is a lot to pay. It really is a lot to pay. And I was sort of having PTSD from giving up the 2 first-rounders to get Shield into our team. But the more I've sat on it and the more we're getting to this point of the season, I'm just like, you know what? Stuff that. I'd happily give up 3 first-rounders to get Dunkley. Because you know exactly what this guy is going to give you week in, week out. He is one of the best players in the comp. And yes, okay, you're giving up 3 first-rounders. But there's no guarantee that any of these first-rounders, maybe one of them, at best 2 of them, could be really good players for you. But this guy in our midfield at this point in time would be sensational. And I think we would beat the Bulldogs if we had this guy alongside Parrish and Merritt. Those 3 would be our trio, our superstar trio, and we could do a lot of damage. So you're right, Jonas. I honestly think that us missing on that trade, in hindsight now, was a big miss. Was a real big miss because Dunkley, he's a special talent. He is a special player, and he's a big boy. Yeah, Fletcher got Ryan Star this week. He's a gun. He's a good player. Doesn't get as much plaudits because he's playing in the same team with, of course, Ashcroft. Maybe now this could be the chance that he needs to get a bit more recognition coming his way in this last month or so of footy. Coming to the other side of the ledger, we've got the Cats, who only had 1 player turn up for them this week, and it was, of course, your boy, Tommy Stewart. I called him as a great option for VC or C this week, but didn't put him as a proper solid recommendation because his record against Brisbane has been pretty shaky in recent times. He's absolutely debunked that now. 25 touches, 9 marks, 5 tackles. He was a superstar of the game, as usual, with a 152, and he led the way. No one else could really match him. Anyone else that is of relevance here in this team for Geelong? Jezza Cameron, 3 goals, 1, still only scored the 76 points. I'm sure Jezza will improve with his scoring in the weeks to come. He was really banged up last couple of weeks ago against us in his first game back. He will be better for the run. I have no doubt about it. And I'm pretty sure there's no one else that is relevant. Some people got the Tomahawk. Very sad. Only 2 behinds for him and 16 points. That is rough. That is very rough. But you can't expect this terrible scoring from Hawkins every week. He will be sure to bounce back. It was a tough matchup away at the Gabatoir. And that was this game. How's Grandma's team? Grandma's team has been decimated, Jonas. Has been absolutely decimated with injury. It's not looking good. I might do we might show her team now, actually. She's got no trades left. And unfortunately, she owned Ridley. So it was rough going for Grandma's team this week, Jonas. But look, it is what it is. You know, you can't win them all. She gave it a fair crack this year, and this is Grandma's team. What Grandma's team has done. So Sheasel, Ridley, unfortunately, is going to go, but we've got no cover for him. So Ridley, unfortunately, is just going to have to be Seamus Mitchell for the rest of the year, and hope that Constable comes back, which is very likely not going to happen. Sheldrick is dead. Johnson. Wines died for some reason, didn't do crap. Anderson died as well. Briggs and Marshall. Golden did crap. Shia Bolton did crap. Taranto did crap. At least Cameron did all right. But yeah, fortunately, we're going to be playing a primo down, Grandma. We're playing a primo down with no trades to cover. So yeah, such is life. Such is life. You're very welcome, Jono. Dacos and Sister locked in. Love it. Love your work, Jono. Good stuff, mate. He listens, Jono, which is always great. We then move to this game. Freo versus the Swans, and at quarter time, it looked like there was game over already. Luke Parker given a fine, start of the fine, 155 Supercoach points, sensational. of 31 disposals. He really took it up to the Freo Dockers. Great leading from the front, 15 contested possessions as well to go with his name, which is really impressive. Callum Mills with a 107. I traded him in a couple of weeks ago. It hasn't been the worst, hasn't been the best either, but 2 goals to go with Callum Mills. And that is terrifying. He's playing a lot more forward, which is very sad. He's playing on a wing as well, so I'm not expecting good scores from Callum Mills every week, that's for sure. Wish I still had Darcy Cameron. Papley, 2 goals with 101. He is an energizer bunny for him. When he's up and about, so are the Swans, and I'm really nervous about playing them this week, just low-key. And Lance Franklin is going to absolutely give us a bath right in time for when Ridley is out with a quad. Our season is done, guys. I'm sorry. Lloyd with a 91 did decent. A lot of 90 scores and 100s. Goes to show what a great team effort. We also look on the other side, and there was quite a few hundreds as well for Fremantle. So it wasn't... they certainly didn't let themselves down, these players. Unfortunately, it's the rest. Too many passengers. Blakey with a 60. Goulden with a 66. Junked it up with 1 goal, 22 disposals, and 59% disposal efficiency, which is very bad. Thank God Bontempelli did enough to take his score. So I am very happy dodging that Goulden captaincy. Freo side, Brayshaw with a 116. I'm happy I've got him. Luke Ryan, 111. He's doing great things for those who own him. People got him at a fairly decent price, and he's been rewarding them. Caleb Sarong with a 101. His disposal efficiency didn't help him. You'd expect a 32 disposal, 4 mark, 4 tackle game to be worth more than 101. So he was a bit stiff, unfortunately. Should have been better. Luke Jackson, 100 points, 43 hitouts, if you don't mind. That's a lot of hitouts. Only had the 14 touches. So it certainly left a lot of points out there on the park. Should have done better. Really exciting. A proposition for us who have for people who have 1 trade left, you could get in Luke Jackson. I unfortunately cannot because I'm out of trades. And of course, we come down to Matthew Johnson, who was subbed out. Damn you, why do you suck so much? 6 touches. Very sad, very sad. Yeah, that is this game. Let's read some comments as they come in. Julian, how's it going, Jules? Ashcroft to a 570k player. Who would you take out of Sarong, Steele, Doherty, Butters, and McCluggage? What is Sarong's run home? Let's have a look at Sarong's run. Let's go to players. We'll go to Sarong. Caleb Sarong. He's got Geelong this week, who are difficult to score against. He's also got Brisbane. That's tough. He's got West Coast, which is good. Port is tough. And Hawthorn, who are also fairly tough. So I probably wouldn't go Sarong based on that run home. Steele looks to have recovered and is suddenly playing some really good footy. Let's have a look at Steele's run. Steele's got the Hawks. He's then got Carlton, Richmond, Geelong, and Brisbane. Again, not the easiest of runs. Let's have a look and see. Filter, 570k mids. And let's zoom in a little bit. Probably wouldn't go Butters. 3-round average. There is Doc. I think Doherty is your man. Because he's also got the DPP, which can be really handy cover. He's got Collingwood this week, who are tough to score against, I must admit. But his run home isn't too bad. His run home is Collingwood, and he's got the Saints, who he should do good against. Melbourne, who knows if Clayton Oliver is back. Gold Coast, he should do well. And GWS, he could also do well. So I reckon Doherty is your guy. Julian, I like Doherty. Yeah, I know, Jonas. That is really huge. I'm really happy for Damo. He's been great. He's certainly he's one of the good guys of Supercoach, of the Supercoach community. Have absolutely loved having him be producing so much content this year as well. And I'm really keen. We're getting him to be part of Fancast as well. So we're getting a really nice roster going for Fancast. Just a whole bunch of Supercoaches taking over now. So, but yeah, really excited to have to work more with Damo and see him in the flesh. He's a really good guy. And if you haven't, guys, subbed to Damo, who is from Supercoach Edge. He does his content with Liam, who is an Essendon supporter, a man after my own heart. You can look at Supercoach Edge. There are 901 subscribers. They are also really close to getting to the 1,000, very similar to Hippo, very close to the 1,000. So if we could do just our own little part, if you guys haven't subbed to them, please get on over. They do some really good work, and they're really nice people as well. So, yeah, I really appreciate it. Absolutely. The Man of Steel. Of course, Jono's going to go Man of Steel. Jules, I reckon Doherty's better. Jonas, can you spell the desperation coming from Ross Lyon and St Kilda? Having a sook about the roof being left open for too long. They only beat the Weagles and the Kangas by 8 points and lose to everyone else. Jonas, I agree with you. Definitely a bit of sheedy in the way that Ross Lyon was trying to redirect and deflect from the issues that are seemingly there, very much there for his team. St Kilda are in danger. If not for a lot of results going their way, the Saints probably should be out of the 8 by now. But they've had a lot of results go their way, so they've certainly been very fortunate. And I can't see them maintaining their spot in the 8. They definitely, I don't know, something has to change for them. At this point, it doesn't look reassuring. It doesn't look promising. Same thing with us. We've also fallen away, and I can't see us making finals either. So I probably wouldn't go. Probably wouldn't go there, to be honest. All right. In what was perhaps the game of the round, we have Power just falling short to once again another Jamie Elliott special, nailing that shot in the dying stages of the game to get them over the line, 83-85. Willem Drew, massive kudos to you, mate. You did a sensational job tagging Nick Dacos, who still got his 25 disposals. He had to work his little backslide off for him, though, and he certainly did not have the same impact as usual. So a massive congratulations goes to Willem Drew. He probably had the toughest task on the day, and it's rightfully so that he led the way for the Power. Dan Houston has seemingly turned a corner as becoming a lot more consistent by the looks of things in terms of his scoring. 25 disposals, not the highest disposal efficiency, 14 contested, 2 frees against, and yet he still ends on 120. I don't quite understand how that works, but yeah, that scorecard to me does not look like a 120-point game, but hey, if you have Dan Houston, congratulations. Connor Rozee, 28 touches with 2 goals. So look at this. All right, we've got that Rozee has more touches, has 3 more disposals than Houston. He also has 2 goals. Houston has no goals. You've also got no free kicks against for Rozee. He had a better disposal efficiency as well. And he had half the clangers. And yet, despite all of that, Houston outscored him. How does that work? Je ne sais pas, as the French might say. I've got no idea how this plays out, but it is what it is. Burton with a 117, Finlayson with a 112. He's a great player, Finlayson. He provides a number of different roles. Zach Butters with a 31 disposal game. He had 64% disposal efficiency, so he wasn't the best. I reckon he was also a bit underscored. Horn Francis, they missed him. He provided some grunt work, 11 contested disposals. Willie Rioli slapping people left, right, and center. Unbelievable. You can't be going around slapping people like that. Come on, mate. Get off it. First you can cuss Ridley, and now you're trying to slap out Murphy. Just calm her down, as our good friend, the Squadfather, would say. Dixon, he's playing sore. He was not right. Still kicked 2 goals, which was a very decent effort for him. And I'm pretty sure no one else owns freaking Ollie Wines. What a spud, honestly. Just go back to Minecraft, honestly. Like, why the hell do I have you? Why does my grandma own you, bro? You suck. Really? One of the worst Brownlow medalists to ever play the game. Second only to freaking Cooney. I don't know how Cooney won the Brownlow. That's ridiculous. 47 off 13 disposals. Get off it, mate. Get off it. We then come to the victors of this game. Darcy Cameron, my word, 45 hitouts. This, dare I say, looked almost underscored. He had 56 disposal efficiency. That's the one thing that held him back. That really poor disposal efficiency. Darcy Cameron has a ripping game. Of course, he does it after I trade him out. Darcy Moore continues to do Darcy Moore things. Jamie Elliott, as Jen says, he has done it 3 times now. He did it against us, of course. Hard to forget Carlton and now Port Adelaide. He is doing some terrific things over there. He was the one player who Big J and I said needs to stand up, and that he has done. He's done a very good job for the Pies. Jack Crisp continues to do Jack Crisp things, works his ass off, runs all day. He's drunk out of the fountain of eternal youth. Does not miss a game. Nick Dacos, we've touched on him, worked really hard to get to this point. Very promising signs. Who else owns anybody? Who else owns anyone? Some people might have DeGoey. He was tagged. Who was DeGoey tagged by? By Willem Drew in the 4th quarter. I don't think anybody else owns anyone. Tom Mitchell was subbed out. Apparently, there's nothing really wrong with him in terms of injury. It was just him being managed by the looks of things. And Markov was injected into the game with that luscious mustache. And he does good things, Oleg Markov. He's actually a very underrated acquisition. He's done very well for the Pies. Jonas Liam is like the Big J, special appearance only, damage the real workhorse of Supercoach content. I really appreciate you, Jonas, man. Big J has got, he's still working through those internet upgrades that he's doing in his house. Telstra are being real pains in the ass in the transfer of the internet between the different providers, he's telling me. So he has really struggled to get any internet going over at his house. So hopefully next week that should be finished. I think he should have said it should have been done on Friday. Maybe there must have been a delay. But hopefully this week he will be back, Jonas. But I really appreciate your kind words, brother. I really appreciate it, man. Willie Tyson Rioli versus Nathan Maradona Murphy for Will Smith Bitch Slap Cup. I love that. 100%. I'd pay money for that. I would pay to watch that. Get my wife's name out your damn mouth. Get my football team's name out of your mouth. Yeah. He's not getting off. He's not getting off. All right. Next game. The Giants. Where has they found this form from? They have come out of the clouds. They have been developing and building, and they are peaking at a great time in this season. They have won now. How many in a row? 6 or 7 in a row? They are on the march, and finals are on the mind. Lockie Whitfield, 25 touches, 9 marks, 3 tackles for 133. Lockie Whitfield is back, ladies and gentlemen. The question only is for how long. He is very injury prone. Sam Taylor, if not for him missing so many games, he really could be an All-Australian. He has a star, Sam Taylor, far out. He is very good to watch. He's very good at what he does, and he played 100% of the game. Same with Sam Collins. They played 100% game time. For that, I tip my hat off to you, sir. Very impressive. Cornelio with a 114 with a goal. This is what we like to see. I'm not expecting crazy scores from him. As long as he can give me around 100, 110, I'd be really happy with that. Harry Himmelberg, he's doing well. He's enjoying that role behind the ball, and he's got 109. Excellent. 12 marks. That's what you love to see from Thor himself. Toby Green, honestly, this guy is such a star. They've even subbed him off. They were that, we've got this game all sewn up. Let's not risk a superstar of the comp. And that's what he is. 3 goals, 4, if you don't mind. I love watching King Toby play. He's a star. Perryman did well. Kelly did well. Daniels did well. Buckley did well. You just see everyone did well. Look how many players scored 90 plus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 players in the 90s. 7, 8, 9, 10. They got 10 players out of their 22 scored 90 plus. And Connor Iden just fell short of the 90. So, gee, what an amazing game they are playing. They are spreading the love. It is a real team effort that they've got there at the Giants. On the flip side, you got the Suns, who've crashed back down to earth. They beat the Saints in what was that, of course, in the classic sacked coach saga. The first game tends to be a win, and now they're back to earth, traveling the Giants, and they got beat fairly comprehensively. Sam Collins and Flanders leading the way. Witts did very well against Briggsy, who scored a 91, did very well to salvage that score. Witts is not an easy ruckman to beat, and for him to only go down by 10 points compared to Witts is a really good effort, in my opinion. The Ratkins scored 99, very impressive. Elijah Hollins, he is a young talent budding for the future, really impressive, 90 points there. Jack Lukosius, he is a very classy player, Jack Lukosius. He doesn't get the plaudits he deserves. 56% disposal efficiency, though. He was well down today. Took Miller, 81 points. Not the best. Then again, we got to, of course, cut him some slack because he is coming back from a very long injury. And I imagine it would take up a lot of time for him to really find his feet and get some continuity in. Noah Anderson junked it up with 26 disposals and a behind, only the 76, and Matty Rowell only the 75. You know that the Suns are going to lose when you're getting this output out of Rowell and Anderson. These two are the heartbeat of the club. And if they're down, the whole club's going to be down. As is Ben King. My word, this guy has already packed his bags and left. Like, in his mind, is Ben King already not on Gold Coast anymore? There's got to be, and that's got to be the reason why he's playing so bad. He is getting enough supply, but he is doing absolutely nothing with it. So I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say that Ben King is gone already. He's gone wherever he's gone. He's probably already in Victoria. He's pretty, yeah. So, Ben King, I can't see him staying the way he's going. And Bailey Humphrey, just the 12 points, 6 touches. What a fall from grace. This guy had a period of time where he was absolutely killing it, and some people were thinking he was going to be that extra premium. Oh, boy, that was short-lived. And that was this game. Briggs will beat up the smelly pom this week, says Jonas. Fingers crossed, Jonas. Fingers crossed. I'm sick and tired of watching all these English owners popping off without me. Speaking of popping off, freaking Gorn, stop this. Why did they make him the sole ruck after I traded him out? It's very annoying. It's very annoying. Angus Brayshaw doing Angus Brayshaw things in the absence of Clayton Oliver, who continues to be absent. Unbelievable. This will not continue, I don't think, when Clayton Oliver returns. 7 tackles. He had 16 contested possessions, if you don't mind. Very impressive. 38 hitouts for Maxi Gawn, and he flushed a wonderful goal from outside 50. He's back. Big Maxi is back. Hard to see Melbourne go back to the 2 ruckman setup with how well he's doing. Petrarca, we discussed it with Jonas before. This is a very interesting score. Probably almost overscored in this game compared to last week. Ed Langdon continues to work hard on a wing. Kate Chandler came back and has done really well for him with a 102 of 16 disposals, 3 goals, if you don't mind. He's not going to do that every week. Kozzy Pickett, He's back to how he started off the year. He's being used on the ball a lot more, and that excitement, that energy that he provides, that speed, he is just lightning, Kozzy Pickett. So another required change for Melbourne. Otherwise, they would have lost a few of these games that have gone by. Ben Brown, he's just given them nothing, isn't he? He's given them absolutely nothing, Ben Brown. We then move over to the Adelaide Crows. Rankin is out with a hammy. He'll be out for 3 to 4, which is very sad for him. And he kicked 3 goals, 3. So that's a lot of scoring that is going to be gone, a lot of excitement and speed that is going to be gone from the Adelaide Crows team. Very tough to see them beating Port Adelaide with him being gone. Giordano Dawson with a 115, 22 disposals, 11 tackles. That is a leader right there. Game high for tackles. The only one to have double-digit tackles. Very impressive by Jordan Dawson. 77% efficiency. You love what you see from that. Schoenberg, a surprise. Hinge, also a surprise. Ben Keys, 2 goals, 97 points. And once again, he's mostly starting forward, and he has lost a lot of the CBAs that he was getting earlier before, which had a lot of people consider him to be that extra premium. A lot has changed for Ben Keys in a very short span of time. I don't know why. Tex Walker, Deadeye Dick, 4 goals straight, if you don't mind, for the Texan, 91 points. He is now, though, 7 goals behind in second place for the Coleman medal. 7 goals is a lot to make up. He's going to have to need Charlie Curnow to miss quite a few games, I think. I know Tex Walker has got the Eagles in the last round, but 7 goals is a lot to catch up on. Who else is there? Rory Sloane. And, of course, there was no Rory Laird this week, as you can see. Hopefully, Rory Laird will be back for all of our teams this coming week. Fingers crossed. Melbourne were copying it a lot. Had like 6, but yeah, I know, absolutely. This is a great result for Melbourne. They really needed to hang on. They needed to clinch this win. They did an amazing job last week as well, beating Brisbane. They are notching up these wins whilst missing a lot of important players, Jonas. You are very correct. They are still, in my mind, a real genuine threat for the premiership. It's not over. The season's not over. There's still a lot of good players to come back for this team, and none are more important than Clayton Oliver. You tell me how many teams can miss a player of Clayton Oliver's ilk and stature in the middle of the ground and still dish out wins on a consistent basis? I'd say there are not many. Melbourne are the real deal. Their back 6 is what keeps them alive. And they've got Gawn playing at his best, playing solo in the ruck. So the Melbourne Demons really are threatening to tear this thing wide open, I reckon. Next game. The Saints, 9-15-69, very nice, against North Melbourne, 9-7-61. North Melbourne gave the Saints an almighty scare. As Jonas pointed out before, a lot of discussion about keeping the roof open at Marvel Stadium, causing it to be an absolute shit show in terms of the skills on display. The thing is, it affected both teams equally, and whoever won deservedly won. And the Saints had to pull off a massive effort in that last quarter to get over the top. Jack Steele, he was involved in just about everything. One of his best games of the season. He did a tremendous job for his side, leading the way with 33 touches, 9 marks, 4 tackles, a really, really telling, important goal, and he got a lot of points scaling from that goal. Well done to Steele. Well done to Sinclair. Rowan Marshall had a very big last quarter as well to get them up about. His goal was also a really telling goal, and he went absolutely bananas. And if you haven't, our good friends at the Saints TV podcast were able to go down into the rooms and interview and speak with Big Rowan Marshall. So that is massive news. Well done to them. Really proud of all the work that they're doing behind the scenes. Winhager, he was my shout for cover, and look at that, just casually a 30 disposal game with 9 marks and 2 tackles. For anyone who did listen to me and did get Winhager as their cover on the bench, you are very welcome. Nazire Wanganeen, 94, fairly decent score. Caminiti, big Kama with an 85-point game. He also had a massive ripping goal. He absolutely flushed it. Machida Owens, is there nothing this man can do? He has to be the rising star. Absolutely has to. He's a superstar. I know Big J reckons Sheasel is the one who should win it because he's a freak and he gets 30 disposals a game. But I'm sorry, I don't think 30 disposals a game automatically warrants you deserving the rising star. I think what Machida Owens is doing is simply irreplaceable for this team. Gotta go with Machida Owens. Higgins also had some telling disposals. Mateus, the guy's a gun. I am very envious of how well he is doing for their team. I actually wanted Mateus to come to Essendon. Fingers crossed that Sardis can show us why we picked him. And I don't think there's anyone else that is of any relevance there for the Saints. We move on over to North Melbourne, who certainly lost no fans. Absolutely. They gained a lot of respect from a lot of people. LDU is going to be a star of the competition. He did very well. 33 disposals, if you don't mind, with 4 tackles, 2 behind. So he left some points out there. But he actually got more contested disposals, more contested possessions than Libba this week. Libba had 22, LDU 23. Very impressive by LDU. Almost got him over the line. Sheasel seagulling it up. 28 disposals and 7 marks in the back line, if you don't mind. Goldie did a really good job. You got to put a lot of respect on Todd Goldstein. He's 83 million years old and yet continuing to do great things in the ruck. He's also quite durable, 32 hitouts. And Cherry also did fairly decently in the ruck with 30 hitouts of his own and a goal. So another one that really did really well was Taron Thomas. 3 goals, really important times. One of them was an absolute mongrel, very lucky to go in, but still, fortune favors the brave. In my word, they played some brave footy. They played brave. Ben Mackay trying to show everyone why he's worth some money. I don't reckon he's worth 800k. Let's be real. He's a 600k player. Anyone else of relevance? Josh Goda apparently did really well. Eddie Ford did decently for us as well. Nice little sidestep kick inside into the middle to set up another goal. Well done, Eddie. And Zabel was the sub. Once again, 26 points. He is done. Is Zabel. Alrighty. Let's. Got some comments all of a sudden. Stephen, best player to get in for Ridley, any line under 560k. Well, we can certainly have a look for you, Steve-O. No worries. Where's my mouse? There. All right. So we want any line under 560k. 560k. Alrighty. Who's the best player? Or you can do Zach Butters, who can cover 2 lines. 5-run average. You can do Steele. He seems to have turned the corner, perhaps. You can do maybe a Parker. You can do a Flanders. Yeah, I wouldn't go any further down than those. In terms of the 3-round average, Sam Taylor's a gun. Sam Taylor is actually a gun. But I think, is it your last trade, Stephen? If it's your last trade, then you probably want someone who can cover a couple of lines. You could do Luke Jackson, who isn't quite that expensive, but Luke Jackson's he's guaranteed to be solo rucking for the rest of the year. So he can cover 2 lines for you, forward and ruck. So I reckon he's a fair shout as well. But yeah, I wouldn't go this low. I reckon you can do Steele. I forgot. What's Charlie Curno's run home again? He's got Collingwood this week. St Kilda, Melbourne, GWS. Yeah. No, I wouldn't do it. Yeah, it's your last trade. Yeah, so I'd go someone with that's got DPP, if that's the case. Depending on what your cover is like and how many DPP players you've got already. I think Luke Jackson's probably a great option. I'd go Luke Jackson. Up the Sainers. Jono, you're very fortunate, mate. You're a very fortunate player. Rowan Marshall's out this week. Really, Tone? Oh, that is a big news. I did not know that. Why is Rowan Marshall out for? How do you know Rowan Marshall is gone? Is it in here? Walsh will miss 2 to 3. Oh, no reports? Okay. I was wondering. I wonder why I didn't hear that. No reports. Friend from Perth told you. Gee, all right. So a friend from Perth told you that Rowan Marshall is not going to play. And Rowan Marshall is here in Victoria. Interesting. Very interesting. Global. How's it going, Globes? Love to see you, man. I'm not a machine. As much as I've been drinking away at my tea, trying to keep myself hydrated with all this talking. Never stop, mate. Don't stop believing. Gotta do it for you guys, man. And I love hanging out with you people, honestly. Like, what better thing is there to do than hanging out, evening, relaxing in a hoodie, talking with you guys about footy and Supercoach. Honestly, there's nothing better, Globes. You're right, man. Machida he's a weapon. He is an absolute weapon. He's a superstar of the comp. I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops more and more into the future. Lib is a beast, man. I'm not going to start him. I do not have the cojones to start a guy who's going to be 32 years old next year, man. I'm not doing it. Haven't had trades for a month and still climbing. Fake premiers have turned the corner. That is so good. Congratulations, Globes. Wonderful. Rodders, fair enough playing finals, Luke Jackson. Man, Luke Jackson is solo rucking, man. Luke Jackson will not have Sean Darcy for the rest of the year. So it's all on Luke Jackson to do all of the solo rucking. So he's a very great option. Rowan Marshmallow burnt his head. What? He's trying to make a s'more out of himself. He's trying to eat himself, Jonas. He loves himself. Well, that would be an interesting one to keep an eye on, that's for sure. All righty. And that was the last game of the round. Is there a way to show how a player does without? I'm pretty sure there was a way to show with and without. Wasn't there? Does someone remember how to find the without in terms of the players' ruck contests? Because I know that without Darcy, Luke Jackson certainly scores a lot better. So, and that's what we saw last year with Jackson when Gawn was out of the side. All of a sudden, we saw a big spike in scoring out of Jackson. So, last year, he certainly had some bigger scoring, and he's now got another premium. He's now got another preseason under his belt. I'm not entirely sure how to pull that up, but Jackson without. Oh, here we are. Is this without? Oh, how do I get to that? I want to get to that. Where's the without, guys? Am I blind? Oh, wait, is it here? Oh, here we are. Yes, without. There we go. So if we look at Fremantle, sorry, it was Melbourne. If we look at Melbourne back in the day, and we want without Gawn. Without Gawn, Jackson suddenly went up 57.4 points. So when Luke Jackson's given that role to play as the solo ruck, he obviously benefits the most because he is a ruckman. He's not meant to be playing forward so much. So Luke Jackson is certainly the big beneficiary of the news coming out of Fremantle that Sean Dyche is going to be out for the rest of the year. So that's why I like the Luke Jackson selection. Global, I was 41K and now I'm 18K. On your Globes. What's the best rank you've ever had, Globes? What's been your best season, mate, before this one? So that is that. So again, to recap, it is possible if you're not sure how to go about selecting a really good captain score, your VC and your C, you just come to DFS Australia, you go to defense versus position. And I like to look at the last 5 because I think the last 5 games are more relevant than the last 10. And then you can see anything that is green shows a positive scoring for players against this team. So the players that are really good for your VCs and your Cs this week, should I say, just curb my expectations. Nick Dacos is a good option as a VC, as is Stewart against Fremantle. They're 2 great VC options, as is Errol Goulden. We suck against wingers, so Errol Goulden could also be a really good option. Without a doubt, the best captain that you can go with is, of course, going to be against St Kilda, who give up a lot of points to the defenders. And who does St Kilda play against this week? Hawthorn. So if you've got Sicily, congratulations. You've got another great captain score coming your way. You've also got a lot of scores being considered by North, but no one owns any West Coast players, so we can't take advantage of that. And West Coast are pretty good at negating kick-in players because the ball is hardly ever down there. So you never know. Sheasel could have a decent day out as well. The ruck trades will be very interesting. I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that Ken Hinkley would love to have Max Gawn at Port Adelaide. And let's be real, Grundy, he wants Grundy. Ken Hinkley wants Grundy at Port Adelaide. And let's be real, there's no better matchup for Grundy than to go to Port. Grundy at Port would be a match made in heaven. They need a gun ruck, and they can free up Jeremy Finlayson to do his thing in the forward line. So absolutely, I agree. I'm not sure, though, if Melbourne are happy to give that up. But will be interesting. Will be very, very interesting. And I think, guys, that might just do us. We're now on like 1 hour, 28 minutes, almost 1.5 hours. It's not our longest stream, but I think it's a pretty decent amount for Supercoach at this point of the year. A little bit of footy talk in there as well. So thank you, guys. Again, a massive thank you to all of you who have come to watch this, to hang out, spend some time, talk with me. I absolutely love it. I look forward to every stream. I'm almost disliking recording videos. I much prefer just jumping on front of the camera and just talking to you guys. Absolutely love hanging out with you and talking with you and getting your opinions and your questions. It's been so much fun, and believe me, it's never lost on Big J and myself that you guys decide to take time out to pull out your phone or your computer or whatever to sit and talk and listen to what we have to say. Really, really appreciate it. Jono, mate, thanks for coming on. Jen, I'm looking forward to talking to you next week. Globes to finish around 500. Hopefully you can get up to around that point, Globes. Believe it in you, man. You're an absolute gun. Jono, calm the farm, bro. Calm the farm about the Saints, all right? You're probably going to miss it. On On you, Jonas. Absolutely love having you on as well. And we're gonna 100%. We're cheering together, Jonas. We'll be cheering together. All right, guys. On that note, we'll let you go. Please check out Fancast. Please check out Supercoach Edge, Hippo Supercoach. The three that we shouted out today. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the Thursday night live stream. Bye for now, guys.